Guys, what's up? Welcome to episode 5 of the No Victim podcast. We're in Miami right now. I'm accompanied, as always, with my co-host, Pablo Farnan. Pablo, what's up?
Yes, sir. How we doing, everybody?
And we have a very special guest today with me, sitting to my right, is my friend. Now, hold on a second. Let me just tell you a little bit about this person.
Give him the
okay?
intro.
Hold
Give him
on.
the intro.
All right, so I met this dude through the internet, Instagram, TikTok, the whole 9 yards, right? And we hung out and instantly we connected. We were going crazy, having fun. I bought my first Rolex with him.
Forgot about that.
This dude is definitely one of my most successful friends for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Sickboy Cole, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome to the pod, brother.
probably the best intro I've ever had. So I appreciate
Absolutely,
I
man.
appreciate that. But at the end of the day, bro,
Absolutely.
I feel the exact same way about you. One of the most successful friends I have. And I've had you on my podcast. So
Yeah,
like
man.
this is just long overdue. So
And that
I'm
was
excited.
super fun. That was super fun.
Yeah, and I'm excited to do this. So
And that
yeah.
was in California. That was where you live.
Yeah.
And you're just visiting Miami. You hit me up and you were like, so I live 3.5 hours away, guys. So from Miami, I drove down and Cole's like, dude, you got to come down tonight. You got to come down right now. So I left my house at like 8:30 p.m. or like 9. And I was like, dude, I'm coming down.
Yeah, it was like 9:30,
I was like,
10.
I was like flooring it the whole way. I was like nodding. I was like falling asleep on the fucking way down. But I'm here and we've been here for a few days. It's been a fucking amazing time. Spent a ton of money, made a fuck ton of money just because of the content and, being, just the energy. And we could talk about that, but it's been an amazing time. And then Pablo came out. Pablo's here because you're here for Eric Spofford's mastermind tomorrow, which is pretty cool.
Super pumped about it. Yeah.
So we're all in the area. We all do somewhat similar things. I know, Cole, you're a day trader. Pablo, you do the content, for businesses and
That's
stuff.
right.
And I'm an online coach, right? So this is what we do, and this is just super cool to be able to have this opportunity to just sit here and have this conversation. We hit the gym,
Oh, yeah.
Boxer gym.
That was sick.
Where did we eat? Henry's or whatever.
Yeah, nice little restaurant.
It was a good
restaurant.
meal. Yeah. So anyway, I want to get right into it, and I actually want to start with asking Cole this question because this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time. Because you were showing me pictures of yourself when you were younger, and it was just funny. Like your hair was like you had like blonde, and we've all done the blonde. I remember last night you were like, "Should I bring back the blonde?"
I low-key should, though.
I was like, maybe, man. I did the blonde not even that long ago. But anyway, I wanted to ask, and because this is, I think, something that can be really valuable for like the listeners and stuff, because you are a day trader. You've come a long way in the past, we'll say 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Especially because I remember when I first found out about you, that was like a few years ago. But I'm curious because I know you used to work at Albertsons, the grocery store.
Yep.
And I'm super curious as to how, what the thought process was for you when you're working at a fucking grocery store and that you want to do big things. I know, you're a friend, you have your buddy Adam, who's also like an entrepreneur. You guys work, together, friends. Like, what was that? I'm curious what the mindset was and what the internal dialogue was in moments like that when you're like at work, hate your fucking job, you want to do something better. You're a young guy, confused about life. Like, what's that like?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I really just wanted to like kind of be cool. Yeah. And I knew like the only way for me to be cool was like get money and like do like what I wanted to do. I was into fashion. I was into clothes, like the whole scene. So like, I just really was like willing to do whatever I could to just feel like cool or like kind of like fit in a sense. And, getting money was that. And obviously working at a grocery store is not going to get me, money. I was making like $250 a week, maybe like $500 a week if I was working like 40 hours or something like that. But it was nothing. And I was just like, this isn't going to get me where I want to be. So I just had to figure out something else. I wouldn't say there was one specific like instance or anything that happened. I think it was just like my whole life. I just wanted to be like, kind of cool. So I had the tattoos, and that's probably why we relate. We just want to be like, kind of like a superhero. We want to kind of be like that person that stands out.
100%.
I was also going to ask, just for those that don't know, because I don't know if some of the viewers don't know them, just like general background, like where you're from, maybe what your parents were like, kind of like your upbringing a little bit, and just kind of like how you got to like kind of where you are today, like, you know, in short, so to speak. But
Well, I mean, my parents are immigrants from Iran, so they pretty much moved here when they were like 14, 15 years old, pretty young.
Yeah.
And, you know, didn't really move here with much. And my dad was really the one that, you know, kind of figured everything out for my family. He really just put, you know, making money and like building something for himself here as an immigrant, you know, coming here at 15 with, you know, his dad passed away at like 12. And then, you know, his mom was a store attendant, you know, and so she was like, you know, on the planes doing all that. So he came here alone at 15, and he came here, didn't know the language, but he was smart, like super educated. So he went to school and, you know, figured out how to build a business in the US as an immigrant. Right. So I saw that at a pretty young age. And I think that left a pretty big impact on me, knowing that like, all right, my parents didn't just come here and get everything handed to them. They really had to work hard for what we had, and we were a middle-class family. So, you know, I definitely was very blessed with the upbringing that I had, and I saw that, and I'm like, this is definitely something I can't just let like go to waste, you know. So I think that's, you know, kind of where like maybe that motivation started from. And, you know, since I'm growing up in kind of like the LA scene, I think a lot of like, you know, hip hop culture and just like that whole scene kind of influenced me to get into that, you know, that whole, you know, Instagram and just kind of like that whole stuff is really where I was like created as a person, was just by like scrolling on my phone, seeing cool things, you know, like No Jumper podcast. That was a big one for me, you know, watching that as a kid, seeing the people that were on it, you know, Midnight Studios, Shane Gonzalez had an episode, and I loved that. And I was just like, this is like what I want to do. I want to be exactly what we're doing right now is kind of what I wanted to do when I was younger. And I kind of had this vision where like, I knew this was going to happen one way or another. So I just kept putting like my step forward or my foot, you know, forward after another, and just said, eventually the life that I want will happen, I guess, you know. But it wasn't like I really had it all figured out. It was like, let's just go and see what happens day by day, if that makes sense.
I love that. I had a mentor tell me years ago that before you can hold it in your hand, you have to hold it in your head first.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're able to do that at such a young age, I mean, you're young now, you know, 22 years old, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Like, so to be able to do that before speaks to your upbringing, you know, to be able to see your dad. And I guess we don't have to live on this forever, but, you know, just like, would you say that like watching your parents as immigrants, like really played into like your like learning work ethic at a young age?
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that just like being able to like understand that was even a thing, that they were from like another place at a younger age,
right,
and not just be like ignorant to it in a sense. I feel like a lot of people are just kind of ignorant to that. So like definitely. And also, I mean, I have to give a lot of props to my parents. Like they were also like very vocal with me and like letting me know that like I used to have like fits because they wouldn't get me like basketball shoes that I wanted. And like, that was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Cause I was like, bro, like I want these basketball shoes, and they wouldn't get them. And I would like have a fit. I'd be like, bro, like I really want these basketball shoes, but they wouldn't get them for me, you know, even though like maybe they could have afforded them. Like it was like lessons that I would like, they would kind of just like, you can't have whatever you want. Like you need to, you know, when I was a kid, they would actually like have a goal for me to like, cause I was a little chubbier. It was like, you need to lose a certain amount of weight and then you can get these shoes. You know what I mean? It was like, there was always kind of like a reward system. It wasn't just like, you're getting this because you want it. It was like, you need to work for it. And I think that was like something that they instilled in me. So, I mean, a lot of it is the parenting, in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah. You learn what hard work is when you are met for maybe the first time or the first few times in your life. You really learn what hard work is when you want something and you can't immediately fucking get it. And you know that you can't speed up time. You literally have to fucking go into that spot that is scary and uncomfortable. And I want to talk about that too, because I was just talking to Pablo about this in the gym, and I would say, I literally said one of the main reasons why I feel like I make more money than a lot of people around me and have a better physique is simply because I'm not afraid to make myself look stupid. Example, working out, doing the wrong exercises, looking like, you know, dumb in the gym, or, you know, whatever have you, or making a video and maybe embarrassing yourself, right? Trying to make content, trying to build your personal brand. And I want to ask you this too, bro, because what sounds like to me when you're talking, what sounds to me is like this overarching theme of almost a delusional sense of self-belief.
Yeah.
Haven't done anything really yet at this point, right? You're a young guy, but know when you're like, you start to get exposed to this stuff. Like you said, you saw the No Jumper podcast, you see shit on Instagram, same thing for me. And you just see what's possible. And it kind of, some stuff sticks with you, some stuff doesn't, right? But the stuff that sticks with you, it kind of, you get these little like inklings of fucking like thought, right? That say, hey, what if you could do that? Like, what if you could be that too? Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm curious as to, you know, was that kind of like what your inner dialogue was like? Because especially as a young guy, and we can probably all three of us attest to this, especially as a young guy, like no one takes you fucking serious. And some of us tend to have big mouths. I know for me personally, like I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Like I could not shut the fuck up about what I was going to do, but was never really doing it because I was so scared. I was scared to look stupid. I was scared because I felt dumb. When you're a young guy, you feel dumb. Yeah. So what was that thought process like? Like you're day trading. You literally are working at a supermarket. You're stocking shelves, I'm assuming.
Well, bagging groceries.
Yeah, bagging groceries. Okay. So a step down.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Damn near literally a step down.
So what's that thought process like when you're like telling people, oh yeah, I'm day trading now? Like, are people like laughing at you, or do you have some people that are rocking with it? What are your parents thinking? Like, what's that like?
I mean, it was like this delusional, like kind of mindset that I did have, that I'm going to figure it out regardless. But I didn't really talk about it too much until I got to the point where it was also like there was something actually there. Like but I was kind of like you too, where I would just say things, you know, just to say them and kind of let my ego like say things. But like realistically speaking, like when things really got going was during COVID, and during COVID there was no school. Like it was like pure isolation. So like it was almost like my senior year, about 6 months before I graduate high school, we go on lockdown, and then a year later people see me and I'm like low-key figured my whole life out, because like there wasn't really any talking about it. It was like I kind of just put myself in literally in isolation for a year because I didn't have a choice. So it wasn't even, you know, it wasn't even like my decision. It was just like I got isolated, and then once that isolation ended, like I had a decent amount of my path figured out. But right before I started trading, I was drop shipping. So I was like, that's kind of when I did start like my whole entrepreneur journey. And pretty much like while I was working that grocery store job, I was trying to also drop ship, because I probably saw like a video about it on YouTube, and me and my friend Adam were talking about it. And we started, you know, that whole business, and that happened while we were still a senior in high school. So I'm sure you can imagine being a senior in high school, starting like a business sounded like ridiculous. And like we were kind of like, I wouldn't say we were popular kids, but people knew who we were. So we had like kind of louder mouths, and people were, you know, word was going around like, oh, these kids are trying to start a business, Adam and Cole. And, you know, there was definitely a weird like persona on it, bro. Like people now, you hear somebody saying that they started a business, it's cool. They're like, that's sick. Almost 4 years ago, it was like cringy. Like people were cringing at us, or like 5 years ago now, they were like cringing at us. You know, they were like, what? Like it was weird. It was a really weird kind of response that we got. Kind of unmotivated us a little bit too. Like I actually lost friends because of it, and like literally like threw hands with my boys because they were clowning me for selling things on the internet, which is ridiculous. But now me and my boy TJ are like best friends again. Doesn't matter. But like we literally like we got a weird reaction. And me and Adam are both millionaires now. 5 years later, we've like completely done everything we said we were going to do. The thing is, if we would have let those words get to us, we probably would have never been here. But there was a weird reaction, you know. But once you have the results to back it up, just people kind of just like, you know, they stop talking.
Yeah. You know what they say though, you know, if you want to know who your real friends are, start a business, because
yeah,
you want to see who actually supports you. But at the same time, you also have to be like self-supportive.
Well, the thing is, the reason I feel like my friends were a little bit like cringed out by it was because they were too insecure to try and do it on their own. Which is just so high school and so like young person mind. But then you keep in mind, I'm only 22. So it's like, I'm still like going through all these like younger people kind of just being young. And maybe that is why you need to get out of your hometown, you know, at a younger age. Just get the fuck out of your hometown and go get around new people. Like I've been here for 3 weeks. I've probably grown more than I have in 3 years of being back home. And like, that's dead ass, you know, not only the people I've met, the network, just like everything, you know what I mean? You're growing a lot more because you're in an area where you're meeting new people. It's not the same old people that know the old Sickboy. You know, the old Sickboy doesn't get the same respect as the one here, you know? So I would say it's, you know, it's a little bit of, you know, kind of putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation and getting around new people, for sure.
Yeah, I think that the thing is, you know, I was talking to Pablo about this too the other day, that the people that know you from your hometown, they know a certain version of you that likely exists only in their mind at that point, right? Because they haven't spent enough time with you, especially when it's 5-10 years after high school. You know, a lot of these kids in your hometown that you knew, like they don't, it's like you start to speak a different language, you know? And I started to notice that with people that were close to me, where there started to become this disconnect in like understanding for each other, where you're like, fuck, this person really doesn't get it. Where you have to almost let people go, you know, for the betterment of your life and their life. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing too that you said, you know, people that come from your hometown too, and like maybe people that are listening have experienced this before. The reason why a lot of times there is a lack of respect from people that come from the same area as you, or they feel a certain type of way about you, it's because they actually have real life proof that you guys grew up with similar tools, right? Like same location. You guys come from the same area, like especially if like you were friends and you guys were like side by side, like year after year.
Yeah, or if they were the smarter kids in school.
Yeah.
And we were like usually not the best grades.
Yeah, yeah. And I just think it's funny because like those people start to look at you, you know, us, like from our hometown. We were just talking about this today, how we, you know, it's so funny how people from like high school and shit, from like from Bangor and Mount Bethel will like pop up into our DMs and be like, you know, watching you, like, you know, love what you're doing, all this stuff. And it's like, you know, people where you're like, what the fuck? I don't even fuck with you. You know what I mean? I don't know you, fuck with you, like care about you at all. And now you're, you know, coming out of the woodwork. But it's because they make these parallels to you because they could be doing the same thing. And that's the thing too, especially in this day and age, the reason why, you know, it's like this weird thing where we all have phones and then some people are making a fuck ton of money, changing lives, changing their own lives, changing the lives of people around them. And then other people are watching dumbass fucking videos on their phone and not getting anything done. You know what I mean? Let me ask you this too. Like what, you know, with trading, like you know, you do the day trading. I know you do like crypto and stuff like that. Like what about day trading what made you want to do that of all things? Because we all do.
That's a good question.
All three of us do different things, and let me say this too. We find our flow. I've noticed that when this dude's editing, when this dude's filming, shooting, he's like, he knows how to ask the right questions in his flow. You know what I mean? When I'm making content, I'm closing deals. Like I know how to stay in flow. You know how to stay in flow. And this will also tie into, I want to ask to add this on to that question, but you know, what made you find day trading like so interesting, and what keeps you in day trading, right? Like what actually, because again, there's bad days, right? Mm-hmm. What's that kind of like? Like what got you into it, and what keeps you in the fucking game every day?
Like that's a really good question. I probably don't even ask myself that question enough because I'm just so caught up in the journey.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how did you get into fitness? You're like, well, I just kind of just like kept doing it, and now we're here. But to be honest with you, I don't think I necessarily like cared for trading at all. I didn't love it. It wasn't passion. I think it built into like this passion. Mm-hmm. After doing it for so long, I was just like, kind of learned to love it. Kind of learned to love the things that come with it, the adrenaline that comes with just catching crazy, you know, plays and just, you know, having sick trades. You know, like it was kind of just like the process and the journey of what came with it is what first kept me going with it, and what I think I learned to love about it. But I wouldn't say it was like I saw day trading and like I was like, this is what's gonna make me rich, or this is it. It was like, I'm gonna try this, and I just kept really doing it. And then as I kept doing it, like I kept like unlocking these new like kind of like side quests within the trading like journey, right? And I'm just learning all of these new things, and I think that's what I kind of like loved about it, and like kind of just kept going with that. But I wouldn't say it was just one, one specific thing that I was like, yeah, I really just want to trade because I saw, it really just was like this consistent repetition over time that made me fall in love with it. And now, I would say it's like a lot of like the social media and like my students is like, that's what keeps me going. It's like literally like this energy that I get from them. And I mean, you've seen like my calls, a couple of these days, like,
yeah,
I'm like I actually genuinely really do enjoy the energy I get from it. And I honestly don't know like if I would still even be like in love with trading the way I am if it wasn't for the ability to like impact, other people. Because the thing about it is me and you wouldn't be friends right now if I wasn't doing that. Mm-hmm. So it's like my whole life is like created because of the fact that I built this company around trading, and now I have all these friends and like this whole thing. It's like if you just stayed going to the gym and being a trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, you wouldn't be here. 100%. But you decided to turn it into something bigger than that, and now we're here. And I was
gonna say other people can benefit from it, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is like,
and that's a side quest.
Yeah,
like
you can make money.
The journey.
Exactly. Yeah, you can make money, but like, how much better does it feel to like buy something for someone, or like teach someone else how to make money? Like, right? Like, that is the whole thing. It's the weirdest thing ever, because at first, it's a selfish endeavor because you're so consumed by your, maybe by being poor or being broke,
just trying to pay the bills,
not getting to pay the bills, not getting what the fuck you want. You want to buy something, you have to decide between this, that. It was one of the worst fucking feelings ever, right? But I think it's so funny how, like, money. You said something about how you like the energy, and you kind of get it's a reciprocated exchange. And money is energy, like we were talking about before. Money is energy, and I've seen this in my own life, where in my business, where if I'm trying to close deals and they're not coming in as fast as I want them to, or let's say I'm not having as big of a month as I want, and I actually think about this for a second, right? And I think, okay, if I'm asking the universe for something, if I'm asking the universe to pay me money and I'm not getting it, well, that means that I'm asking for a reciprocation of something. If I'm asking that of the universe, then I would have had to do something before to get that. Mm-hmm. So if I think about that for a second, I always think if I'm not earning enough, if I don't feel good about myself or about my life or about whatever situation, it's probably because I'm selfish in the moment and not giving myself away. Get what I'm saying? Because, dude, we've probably both been there where we can make it all about ourselves. We can go on binges where we spend money and we shut out the world, Yeah. But then when you come up for air and you see everyone else that's around you, you realize you're like, I'm not that important. It's more like I'm becoming a source for others, which is super fucking powerful. What do you think about that, Pablo? Just because I know Pablo's more, of a family type guy. You value family.
For sure. I appreciate relationships. I think like I love people. I found that I would say that the antidote, in my opinion, is generosity.
100%.
Being able to give. Like when you give, you get. But when you take, the world takes from you. Legitimately. Like it's crazy how literally just turning, like I actually read a study recently where it said that when gratitude enters your brain, like gratitude literally goes inside your psyche, anxiety and depression cannot live in the same space. Mm-hmm. And so I found that like the antidote is gratitude. The antidote is generosity, just being able to give. And it's like, well, okay, what do I give? If I don't have money, like what do I give? It's like, well, you have a gift. Like everybody has a gift, an ability to do something. So for you, it's day trading. For you, it's, teaching people how to have a better physique and how to, live better life. And I just think being able to give is really what I have found that is so powerful. But I feel like sometimes people they're too self-centered, or sometimes they're scared to give it away because they feel like other people are going to succeed.
And I'll say this too. It's a lot of times it's a fucking weird, like people, when we say give, we mean giving based on what the fuck you're good at. You give based on your gifts and talents and abilities. If you are not the type of person that can, make the same type of content as me, maybe you can do writing content. Maybe you're an author, right? If you're not athletic, maybe you're a really good communicator, really good, at fucking preaching. I don't know. Like you just never know what it is. You know what I mean? It's like people, they think too hard and long about this. It's like, dude, what the fuck makes you feel good when you do it? Yeah. What do you like doing? Like, what are you passionate about? That's how you serve others. You know what I'm saying? Your passion is directly related to how you serve others. It is. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, there is bad days. So I want to ask you this because, and then I want to talk about tattoos. But I want to ask you this too, because I get this question a lot. And I don't want to ask this question ignorantly, but because I don't want to ask it in the same way that maybe you're asked this question, but what motivates you, right? But what keeps you, because people start day trading and they stop. Mm-hmm. People start making, start their own media company and they stop. People start making content coaching, trying to get in shape, and they fucking stop. Okay. And I think that there's a trend between people like us three and other people that are in our network that are, maybe doing things at a little bit of a higher level, where there's a rare ability to talk to yourself in a little bit of a different way to keep yourself going along, like internally. And what's that been like for you? Like when you're not having a good trades, or maybe you're not doing the month that you want, or maybe just like anyone else, you have some things going on in your personal life outside of work that are derailing you. Like what keeps you on that path? Like what keeps you waking up every day and saying, okay, I'm Sickboy Cole. Like this is who the fuck I am. And like, I'm going to do this, that, and the other.
Dude, I'm going to be honest. I mean, there's plenty of days where like, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like there's plenty of days where I'm just like fuck this shit. Like I want to quit, but like, you just can't. Like, I just kind of like,
you just find yourself doing
like, I just find myself that like first of all, there's nothing better that I could do.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I going to go and do? Just sit there and like twiddle my toes? Like I'm not going to enjoy doing that anyways. And I've maybe it's a little bit of like just crazy mental illness or something. I don't know. I've just decided that like, I'm just going to
I think we're all a little fucked up.
Keep going. Right. And I think that's like the only way that like the most successful people in the world do get there is because they're just like a little crazy, a little delusional about it. Man. And like, I'll lose crazy amounts of money that most people should just quit. And I'll just be like, no, let's run it back again. Let's go. Like, I'm ready to run it back again and again and again. Got my Instagram deleted plenty of times. I didn't care. Yeah. Said, we'll figure it out. I'll pay somebody to get it back for me, or like whatever it is that would derail somebody. Like we just like kind of just push through it. And like, I couldn't tell you what it is. And I think that's also why like not everyone's successful, just because like they don't have whatever that is, like that thing in their mind that just pushes them to keep going. And I don't think it applies to everything for me, because there's areas where I lack that. Yeah. But there's areas where I'm just like, I'm going full force, Yeah. So
100%.
What about you? Like, what would you say?
I mean, dude, honestly, the thing that I always think about is how, how like you look up to someone, and like, let's say you see someone on the internet and you paint this kind of, you have your heroes, the people that you look up to, I think about how those people would think about me. Get what I'm saying? Like, cause I get heartfelt messages on my Instagram, and people are always saying they love my content. I mean, people were stopping us in the fucking street. Yeah. Right. How many times did I get stopped? What? A lot. Like 5, 6. And it's always the same thing. It's always like, I love your content. I resonate with it. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I know that, first of all, it's not about me. So I have to think like, okay, the only way I can keep going is if I really just make this about helping other people, like truly fucking helping other people. Cause there's so many times where it's like, damn, if I didn't make that video, and maybe that dude wouldn't have messaged me, you have no fucking idea what's going on in that person's personal life. Yeah. They could be on the edge of fucking popping themselves. You just never know. You could be the person that kind of saves them. You know what I mean? Not that you need to save everybody at all, but I think it's just another thing too. Like, that's the nicest side. That's the nice version of the question you asked me.
Maybe the non-selfish version.
The more aggressive side of me wants to tell you that this is a dog eat dog world, and you have to wake up with a certain level of aggression towards your goals and a level of urgency. And I think the only time you should ever look at what anyone else is doing is to is to like light a fire under your ass, you know, right? To maybe motivate you, say like, wow, that dude got that car, that's fucking sick. I'm gonna now go get mine, right? But staying on your own path is super important, but also waking up and just people, they just doubt themselves too much, and then their brain becomes just full of this doubt, when it's like this like heaviness that stays in their brain, right? I'm always thinking about how certain things would be hard for other people, but they're easy for me, and it makes me feel like the man. Like it really does. It makes me feel like, oh no, like this would, like you said, shit that would normally derail other people. That's actually what that literally like that gives me goosebumps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like when you take those risks that other people don't, you get the things that other people won't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, dude, like, I don't know. There's, and people may say this is cocky, but there's a certain part of me that literally just wants to destroy everybody, like compete with everybody. Like, why not?
Well, I was gonna say, do you look at like those idols that you have and look like? I mean, I look at it like I'm just trying to chase after them. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, it's like I have, you know, of course, I have people that I look up to, and like I look up to certain people, but I think that another thing that people don't really do, especially men, is they don't like put their foot down and like say who they are and decide who the fuck they are. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if someone asked us all the same 5 questions, it's very likely that we would have different answers, right? Like, because of, even if we are alike, right? It's the ability as a man to fucking sit in his own individuality and be able to say no and to say yes to certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's one of the most important things. Like, I've noticed that about guys is like, they don't even know who the fuck they are. Yeah. They dead ass don't know who they are. They don't know what they want out of life, and it's literally embarrassing. And we see these fucking loser guys all around, and all it takes is like don't like. When I think of myself, I literally think of, sometimes I'll look at videos, because you have to have, we as humans, we exist on a dynamic. I'm not always perfect. I'm not always fucking killing it and grinding, right? Like, I'm just not always like that, right? We exist on a dynamic, but there is a best version of ourselves that exists at all times, right? Like, what would that best version of yourself do? I always fucking think that. Even when I'm looking at my Instagram, I say, okay, Gabe No Victim. I go, damn, that dude's cool as fuck. Because I almost separate myself from who I am now to who I see on the internet, right? And I'm like, I want to be like him, right? Because I'm showing like, oh, okay, I can create this character and live up to it. Mm-hmm. Get what I'm saying?
Almost like that version of yourself is the superhero that you're looking like
100%.
To become.
Just like Sickboy. Sickboy Cole, right?
Exactly.
It's like Cole Jafari is like the person, and then Sickboy Cole is like the alter ego.
Like that 10.0
right?
version of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
I'd say I'm always like working towards getting there. And I would say you'd never like actually like at that point.
You said something before that really like excited me, because I brought back memories of, I have this like vision of myself when I was like a young kid, right? Being like, I don't know why, but like having sunglasses on. Oop, I'm gonna knock shit over fucking talking about this, getting too excited. Having sunglasses on and being in like a suit, like a Ferrari, Lamborghini or something, like, and just being like, just like hopping out like valet, like chewing a piece of gum or something, like walking into the restaurant. I had this like vision of myself, right? That like I was just really fucking cool, like tatted up, glasses, right? And sometimes there's little moments where like I remember that vision that I had of myself as this older person, and I literally am him right now.
Yeah.
And I think about how crazy that is, because we, you know, and this is, I want to talk about tattoos now, because we all have tattoos, right? And for me, tattoos was a big part of my image, right? I mean, I just started getting tattooed 2.5, maybe three years ago, right? And for a long time, I didn't get tattoos because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get a job. I was afraid what people thought. Like, of course, like we all are, right? When we're younger. And then I grew up and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, I work for myself now, so I'm just going to just fucking get tattooed. But, and you said you got tattooed at a young age too. You said that.
Yeah, like 16 is when I started. But that was just out of insecurity, honestly. Because I just
Why?
wanted,
What do you mean out of insecurity?
like, I just wanted to, like, just felt like it was just my only thing that
To get attention?
Get attention, be different, stand out, be unique.
What was your first one?
My finger. I had like the money sign on my finger. But then I covered it with a spider. I had literally a stick and poke money sign on my middle finger because I would want to take photos like this and like have no money. It's like, I don't know, bro. 16,
That's sick as fuck, man.
It was interesting.
That's
but like you said, it's a big part of my image too. I think if I didn't have tattoos, I don't know if my image would be as like, I wouldn't say cool, but like as me, you know, because it's just like a part of like my aesthetic now. And I had the same exact vision when I was younger. Probably even a vision like this of me on a podcast, you know what I mean, with somebody just like yourself in a cool little city just doing some crazy shit, you know?
Yeah, man.
And, you know, having those visions I think are super important for those listening is like have those visions and like really like treat those visions and like almost like close your eyes and like be in it, you
Love
know,
it,
like
man.
actually like manifest it, feel it, like smell it, like, you know what I mean? Like literally be there in that moment. Cause like even now thinking about it, like there's like plenty of those times where I'll watch a movie when I was a kid and I'll get like a little inspiration from it. And then I'll try to like picture myself being in that, you know, that moment. And I honestly think it's like a mixture of like imagination that like, you know, a kid has, and you can't ever really lose that, you know, cause to this day, I still do that. And I'm still looking at like, okay, in 10 years, what are the visions I'm having?
Those moments are like super divine, and I think that they're not coincidental whatsoever. I think that to think it's sillier to think that those thoughts are random than they are on purpose, like for a reason. Like, why did I have a feeling like I want to buy a fucking Lamborghini? Like, that's pretty crazy, right? Like when you first get that thought in your head, like as a young guy, right? You're like, Lamborghini, huh? Right? Maybe you talk yourself out of it, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, damn, like. If you're someone like me and you're like, oh no, like, damn, that could actually happen, right? Like, I think that those moments are so special and they're not coincidental whatsoever, because I truly feel like we're all supposed to be on a path, and the universe, God, whatever, will send us signals, but it's up to us to decide what to do, because we have free will as humans, you know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like once we decide and we're on like an actual aligned path, then we know, because we feel good. You know what I'm saying? And I've noticed that with like, if I don't feel well, like mentally, spiritually, I know it's because it's probably, I'm probably not doing something that I'm probably doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing. Right? Or that's just a little bit off the path. And sometimes it takes like reflection, but a lot of times it just takes like going back and doing what I know like is fulfilling, and that's like my client work, my content, you know, things like that. But I know we're talking about tattoos, and I want to get back to that. But because me and Pablo grew up, because it's interesting that you grew up in Orange County, which people don't look like that in Orange County, I feel like at least really. Not where you're from. Really, at least not the area you're from, right? And me and Pablo, we grew up in like Mount Bethel, which is also not a place where people are really like tatted up and shit like that, right? But we were in a band. We were in a hardcore band. He was a guitar player. I was a vocalist, right? And we were exposed, and I've told Pablo this story before, like, were there, because I used to look up to heavily tattooed individuals, right? Like I would go to hardcore shows, and then the people with money and like nice cars and like girls were like the dudes that were like tatted up. Probably drug dealers, whatever. Doesn't matter what the fuck they did. They had nice cars, girls, cool. Money, and you didn't. You know what I mean? So I looked up to those people, and I always saw that as my way out. You know what I'm saying? Like I always thought like, oh, that's gonna be like my be all end all. Like I'm gonna like be in a band and all this shit. And like I used to look up to guys like that. And now, you know, we were just having a conversation about this today and talking about how some people that are doing stuff like that and I really want to talk to you about this. Some people that are doing stuff like that, we were so passionate about it. And then come to find out, some people that are doing stuff like that, they're like poor, they're broke, right? They're not making any money. And some of these guys have kids.
Sure.
And dare I say, their kids are maybe even suffering for it, right? Because their parents don't take their careers seriously. It's more about the music and more about the band. Let me ask you this, and you guys can either answer, but let me ask you this. A lot of young guys probably experience this. The difference between like a passion that may not pay you, or something more practical that is going to bring in money, right? Because the music wasn't paying us. We loved it, right? And I'm sure you've had some things like maybe, clothes, fashion, whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. Rap, making music, SoundCloud. Let's say you're like, I don't know, whatever you were into, right? I was going to say being a SoundCloud rapper. Is that you?
No, never.
You said you made me. Okay.
Never.
That would be funny as shit. But Sickboy Cole.
I get the question. I get what you're saying though. I get it.
What's for you? I guess you guys can either of you guys can answer this, but like, what was the deciding factor for you where you're like, okay, I kind of have to put like the fun little kid side of myself away and sacrifice that and focus on this business? Because I feel the same exact way about my online coaching than you probably do about day trading, where it was like, I love helping people, right? But it wasn't like I loved being stressed as fuck about building my business. I always thought like I'm doing this for a higher purpose, but it was a practical thing. You get what I'm saying? It's like you started to day trade because you were good at it, and then people were asking you for help. So then it's not even about you anymore. You're like, well, damn, like I don't want these people to suffer, right? Same thing with me. When people see that I'm muscular and I'm having a better life experience, well, I don't want them to suffer because I know how it feels. You get what I'm saying? So I guess what's your like experience? What's your guys' experience with that? Like saying, was it like a moment in time where you're like, you turn 25 and you're like, all right, I'm putting the fun shit away. I'm going to focus on business. And I know, like, what's that like for you guys? What's that been like for you guys? I'm just curious.
I'll let you answer first.
Sure. I think, so we grew up in Pennsylvania, and I think we've talked about this before, but I feel like income kind of from that area in the older generation, there's nothing fulfilling about making money. It's kind of like you make money so you can pay your bills, and you do that your whole life until you retire. And I think this new, at least for me, when I got into video, I did video because I loved it, not because it was a thing I got to do, not a thing I had to do, But then my mentors taught me, they said, Pablo, when you can find something that you love to do and make a living doing that thing, what could be better? Yeah. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I want more money. Do you though? Is money really going to fulfill you? I'm not saying it's not. We all love money. We all need money.
Love it.
Love it. But is that really the thing?
100%.
I've met some crazy rich people that are alone in their house, married to their fourth wife, and couldn't hate themselves. And when they look in the mirror, they hate themselves. But I have some friends that, they make 40 grand a year and they love their 2 kids, their wife, their house. They love it. Yeah. And they're happy. And how can we be mad at someone who's happy?
100%.
So I guess for me, to answer the question more officially, I would say like, thankfully, I found what I was good at a young age, and I found a way to make a living doing that thing. I quickly found out that, don't get me wrong, I'm a filmmaker, but I'm more of a business owner than I'm a filmmaker. So for me, I found a way to scale, to build something. I love business. It's so fun for me to build something, mainly because I love people. So I found a way that to kind of bring in, like, I love people, and I love kind of like creating systems and procedures and like ways to create money. And the cool thing too, not to take this whole thing because I want to hear your answer too, but
no, I love this, dude.
It's just interesting. Like, I've kind of gotten to a point now where I love video. I love what I do, but I even more so want to find people who love it, because I found creatives are not always the best at business. But if you can create a way, like, forget me making 100 grand. I want 6 people on my team to be each making 100 grand.
Yeah.
How can I create income for people to be able to do what they love, and then they will be paid. You're always paid in accordance to the value that you bring. The market will pay you. If you're good at something, the market will pay you. And so for me, It happens to be video and people and business, and I love it.
Love that.
How about for you though? What would you say?
So, I mean, I have a few viewpoints on it. I don't necessarily think you have to, do something that you love in the beginning. I think you need to do something that's practical.
I agree.
Especially if you're like struggling, you got to do what's gonna, put food on the table and get you to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you get to that point where you have a little bit of leverage, I think then is where you start to integrate more passion into what you're doing.
Right.
Because not everyone's gonna have the luxury that we did to be able to figure out what our passion is and then mix that with business or whatever it is. So I mean, it just depends. I think if you're lucky enough to have something that you're passionate about, first of all, don't think that you can't turn your passion into profit, because there's definitely a way to do that. I feel like a lot of people don't think that they could turn even the simplest passion into a business. And I think that's the issue, is that they don't even know that they could turn, like you said earlier, whatever you're good at into a business. I mean, people are day traders all the time. How many of them have a business around it? Or how many people go to the gym every day but don't have a business around that? Or how many people take videos on their phone but don't, you know what I mean? It's like everybody takes a video on their phone. Everybody goes to the gym. Everybody occasionally buys a stock, but you can also turn that into a business.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't even think they even connect the two. And I think that's
100%. I think there's a massive disconnect between, and it's the weirdest thing for me because I don't know, maybe if it's just to have this, again, that delusional sense of self-belief. But yeah, I've always felt like it was more than possible to use my phone to make money and do something that I love. And I back to Pablo, what you were saying before, because this is so profound and this is really important. Like when you were saying the dude that, on his fourth wife, multimillionaire, miserable as fuck, versus the dude making 40K, loves his kids, loves his life, happy as fuck. If that's what you want, right, do what makes you happy. Like a lot of men. I'm talking to the guys right now. A lot of you guys, you literally don't know what the fuck you want out of your life. You don't know. And it's fucking your life up. It's fucking everyone up around you because no one respects you. No one takes you seriously. And it's because you've never actually sat down and decided what the fuck you want out of your life. It doesn't have to be realistic. It doesn't have to be fucking, I know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Get what I'm saying? But like, why whether it was your parents or society, or maybe if it's your wife, girlfriend, whoever the fuck is like talking you out of it, it's usually yourself. But you have to understand that like you can do what you love and make a living off it. You just have to decide what the fuck you want to do with your life. Get what I'm saying? Because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. The more that everyone around you is going to pass you up and you're going to get left behind. This happens all the time, by the way. Like there is people watching this right now that can probably resonate with that because they took too long, right? Like you have to be quick. You have to decide what you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to make decisions. Like that is part of being a man, right? Yeah. It's not about always being perfect. We're going to fuck up. We need to learn from our fucking mistakes, but it's really important that you just decide and man the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because people are counting on you. Like while you're there worried about like, I don't know what my passion is. It's just like funny to me. Like, like a grown ass man saying like, well, I don't know what my passion is. Like, so I'm just figuring it out, while my wife works.
Well, but to
it's
real
just
quick,
like,
but to keep in mind, not everybody actually has the capability to think as big as we do.
No,
and I'm not saying we're better.
Well, what I was going to say was,
go ahead.
If you're at the point where you don't know how to think like that, you need to look at people like us and use us as an inspiration to be like, that's where I can go, not fuck them.
100%.
You know what I mean?
This is why
you got to look at that as an inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a mindset, and it is a mindset issue. You know what I'm saying? This is why on every podcast, I feel like every time we do a podcast, I always want to like say, okay, by the way, my life completely fucking changed because of social media, and you could probably do the same thing too. By the way, if you're watching this and you like what we're doing, it's kind of like, it's almost like my gift to you, right? Like we've had an amazing few days Like life almost doesn't feel real. We're young guys in our 20s making great money, inspiring other people, doing literally whatever the fuck we want, you know, to a certain extent. And it's amazing. You get what I'm saying? And because I've had such amazing experiences, I think it's my duty to share how other people can do it too. You get what I'm saying? Before you go, Pablo, I also wanted to give Pablo credit here because Pablo was the first entrepreneur that I ever witnessed with my own eyes. And it was, and you know, he was, you know, young guy in his 20s. And Pablo used to pick me up from work. Okay. So Pablo used to pick me up from my jobs, bring me to network marketing meetings. He would put me in his YouTube videos. I was able to meet a lot of heavy hitters that were really good at sales. I met Joe Flock.
Joe,
huge heavy hitter, like multimillionaire, like landscaper guy. Like I met a bunch of really good guys because of Pablo. And like, I think it's really, this is exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Like right here, Pablo, because he's like, yeah, like this network marketing thing is pretty cool. And then when you started to do content with Scott,
yeah,
like it was like, it literally just takes, like you said before, seeing someone do it. And luckily this dude was my best friend. So I was seeing him in real life and I'm like, everywhere this motherfucker would bring his camera, right? And I can only imagine how much that helped you with your content skills nowadays, right?
Sure.
And I would be like, holy shit, this dude has balls, bro. He'll bring his camera into anywhere, doesn't even fucking ask, doesn't care. It's just always attached to him, right? And I just thought that was so inspirational. Like he was literally like an entrepreneur while I was like still working bullshit fucking jobs. And like Pablo used to pay for all my food. He used to pay for all my meals. Like he was saying before, like now it's my turn to get him back. It's still crazy for him. Yeah. Like we met when I was already like doing pretty well. Yeah. Like we're kind of like, you know, we're Ruby and Scrim, right? Yeah. But like this dude saw the whole like metamorphosis and he literally his body locks up and freezes when I pay. He goes,
I like don't think it's real.
He like freezes like a robot.
Well, imagine he was there when you bought the Rolex. That must have been even crazy.
He was so happy for me too. And this is so crazy because this is the one, I would probably say the only dude back home that was actually genuinely happy for me when I bought that watch. And you know, it was so crazy. I was surprised because when I was with them, because it was a different, remember I told you it's a different feel. I'm like, I'm with Cole, right? I'm with his crew. I was telling Pablo, right? The whole thing. And we're in Happy Jewelers, right? I'm getting my Rolex. And everyone in the, like, I got him, Cheyenne's there, fucking Tommy's there, Matt, was like a bunch of people they're dapping me, like daps all around the owner. We're like having a celebration because I'm buying my first Rolex, right?
Yeah.
It's like hugs all around. Everyone's got their phones out. And I'm like, it was almost surreal for me. I was like, are they fucking with me? I was like, are they gonna like make fun of me? Like later, like gonna make fun of me? Then I was like, no, this is real. Like they're inspired by this, right? Yeah. Because, you know, and I feel like it's because you probably set that standard for them, you know, because you and Adam likely. So I just think it's super cool, man. I just wanted to give you your props and just also say, you know, that's kind of what happens when you start to level up. You start to surround yourself with people that are like you and you start to feel understood. Like when people say it's lonely at the top, I'm not saying I'm at the top, right? Yeah. We're on our way up, right? But I've met way more solid individuals the higher I go. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, without a doubt.
Like people that are really solid.
Yeah, and we said that earlier is the only reason like 90% of the higher network we have is because of the fact that we're doing this stuff in the first place. Like we wouldn't have these friendships if it wasn't for.
No, man, it's all about taking action, getting out there and doing the podcast.
There's two. First of all, I appreciate it.
Yeah, love you, bro.
No, I love you too. 100. I appreciate it. But it's. I have found that it's our like absolute duty to do the best that we can in this life because you're going to come across two different people. People are either going to see us, you, whoever, just us in general. And they're going to feel like a mirror is being held up to them and they don't like what they see. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or you might surround yourself with other like-minded individuals that might look at you and be like, dude, this is the best thing ever. And you're just lifting each other up. Yeah. But I think no matter what, there was someone in our life that we saw, whether it be a character that we created in our mind of like a future self, whatever that might be. And it's like our job to do that, not just for ourselves, but for other younger versions of ourselves that are looking at us as well. Because I mean, because someone made it possible in my mind, like I hung out with guys that I met my mentors 15 years ago, got to go to their house and got to see the cars in the house, and just literally just the fact that thinking that way was possible changed my life. And like just the fact that we think the way we think, the way we walk, the way that we just, I mean, we just had food right before this, and some people cannot afford that.
Yeah. It's an aura.
Yeah.
It's the way you carry yourself.
It was that the generosity that they shared with you is because it's like a selfishness. They're fucking multimillionaires. Why do they need to fuck with you? It's because when you're broke and poor, you only think about your fucking self. So you can't fathom why someone who they already made their money. That's why when you even said it yourself, how whether it was Pat or Mike said, once you get the money monkey off your back,
yeah,
then you have all that's left is the problems that money can't solve.
Well, I've asked them, I
You know
said, why do you, so they make about $250,000 every 30 days residually. So whether they wake up or don't, the money's not only coming in, but it grows every month. And I've asked them multiple times, like, why? Why do you make so much money? You know, it's not by accident. You can just wake up by mistake and like, oh, there it is. No. Why? And they said to me, Pablo, you have no idea how good money is until you give a lot of it away. You have no idea how good it is. You can't pour from an empty cup. Yeah. You have to fill your cup. So you almost have to be selfish a little bit initially. Get your own. Once you have your own, you can give. But you have to have that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure even with day trading, I think that's like the coolest thing, that you have a group of people that like you can almost relive your successes through your people. Yeah. Every day. Pumped that they're doing well.
I think that's like what keeps me going.
100%. You too. The fact like you could see someone go from like skinny fat to a six pack.
Yeah.
Because of you.
Yeah. And with the business coaching too, like seeing people hate their job or hate their life and then make money from their phone. Like that's a huge one too. Like anytime you can change someone's life in a positive way, it's like the most powerful energy exchange possible. Right. It's like when you can actually influence someone enough that they take something away from what you say and then apply it in their real life. Like that is real influence right there. That's real influence. I think it's so powerful, man. I
have a quick question before we close up shop here for both of you. What's next for No Victim? What's next for Sickboy Cole? Like what's in the pipeline this year, 5 years, 10 years?
I'll let you go. Okay. I'll let you go, Cole, because I'm actually very curious. And
just curious to know.
I'm not too surprised if you're going to say what I think you're going to
say. I'm curious.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty young, so I'm only 22, you know, so I'm definitely not going to stop. You know what I mean? It's really just continuing doing what I'm doing, continuing to level up. And I think the goal for me, you know, probably for 2025 is, you know, I want everybody on my team, whether they're like on my team internally working for me or, you know, a student of mine, I want them to get to like 10 grand, 20 grand a month. You know, I want them making 6 figures a year, because in my opinion, I think that goes further than me figuring out how I can get to 100 million, you know, because that's my goal. But I think getting other people to where they want to be will, you know, selfishly get me to where I want to be faster.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to act like it's not a like selfish thing. It is 100%. But I understand the game enough to know that if I help people, it's only going to help me. So why wouldn't I help people? You know, so I'm just going to continue that and continue getting the people around me, you know, to that level, because I think that I've probably outgrown a lot of things. So I think I need to, you know, get myself in an uncomfortable situation and level myself up and, you know, continue meeting bigger people and, you know, doing what we're doing right now, basically.
I love that. Gabe?
Love it, man. Dude, you know, honestly, what's next for me is like literally the same thing that I've been doing, just at a higher level. I will say though, you know, I have been a little bit more focused on the business coaching, and it's been like extremely enjoyable for me just to watch people build their businesses online, just make money online. Just making money like online from your phone is like a different feeling.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And then also No Victim Apparel, we're going to be bringing on some sponsored athletes this year. So just helping, you know, the brand grow, and again, helping those guys get paid. That's like been a big priority for me, is making sure that, you know, those athletes at least have the tools to be able to, you know, be rewarded monetarily, not just with the clothes and being part of the brand. So it definitely goes a long way. So what about you, brother?
So I want to build, I want to scale. I know that's very generic, but my mentor, I was talking with him one day, we were on a walk together, and I said, what's the thought that you think the most in the day? Like, what are you thinking about? And he just said to me, he's like, Pablo, I think about constantly, can somebody be doing what I'm doing so that I can go do what I'm best at? That's make money. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. So I was like, okay, elaborate. What do you mean? He's like, I haven't gone to the supermarket in 5 years. I don't buy gifts. I get gifts delivered. They're wrapped too. Like, I don't do basic stuff. I don't cut the grass. I don't do none of that. So for me, I think I'm learning how to delegate in my business, give away the responsibility so that I can go do what I go do best, which is shake hands, say hi to people, make more money, make more relationships. And so I'm in that position right now. I would say I feel like I'm giving away stuff that I do constantly because I'm like, oh, it's me. I'm the only one that can do it. Especially when you're in like the brand game, it feels like no one else can do it because you're you.
Well, I used to be scared to even want to delegate because I thought that I had to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we even had a conversation about that, like, with our coaching businesses, hiring different coaches, different people on our team. I always wanted to do everything on my own. And I think the biggest thing for me that's, really switched is you have to have a team and you have to have people that you want to grow with and that they want you to grow and that you can trust them to do the things that you would normally do. But when you're not there, you know that they're going to get it done, on a insanely high level. And that's how you truly do build a business that can scale. Right. Without that, you can only scale your business to the point that you can handle it. So I think that's a big one. And I also want to add is, fixing the problems that money can't fix. That's one thing that I really want to focus on because like I've got money figured out, but I don't have everything else figured out. And that's just the truth. And I'm working on it. I'm young. I'm 22 years old. So of course, I think that's where I'm at, is figuring out those things and, just becoming a lot, more wise and, smarter and just trying to be like not as much of a young, naive kind of kid with money and just really growing into like that version of myself that I know that is the best version.
Sometimes that takes time.
It does.
It's those moments, those lowest moments that you're like, oh no, I'm good. And then they happen to you. You hear growing up, you always hear like, oh, this my uncle went through. Oh, wow. My neighbor's going through. Oh, wow, that's tough. Man, it sucks. And you're like, that's crazy. And then you all of a sudden are in their seat and you're going through it. And it's those low moments when you're by yourself in your car and you have nothing else but crying to do.
Money won't fix you at that
Money's
point.
not going to fix none of that. You can throw money at stuff all day, but like there's like an actual being inside of you that only you can take care of, really. And it's like we've talked about controlling the controllables, finance, fitness, faith, family. Like if you can kind of get those four things in balance or maybe in harmony, so to speak, life is going to flow a lot better. But when one's out of balance, it's like a car with three wheels. It's just not going to work,
Ain't going to get you too far.
No.
Love it, man. Love it. Guys, it's been about an hour.
That's right.
I think we're going to wrap it up. I just want to say, appreciate you for hopping on, man. It's been an amazing conversation. I feel like we covered a lot of ground on this one.
For sure.
Where can people find you if they want to follow you, if they want to become part of your community, plug your stuff?
I mean, it's all Sickboy Cole. Sickboy Cole on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff. And all my stuff is there. And I appreciate you for having me on. Seriously.
Dude, absolutely.
This was sick.
Just so you know, I do know Cole in real life. He is 100% the same way as he is in real life that he is on the internet. Crazy motherfucker. There's not a single person on this planet that I spend more money with than when I'm with this fucking guy. Fucking.
You should try it sometime.
Swear to God.
And all I do is giggle when he says, I'm just like,
motherfucker is gonna get me evicted, but at least I got a Da Vinci shirt, baby.
That's it.
I'm playing. I'm fucking with you. But Pablo, where can they find you, bro?
At Pablo Farnan on everything. And then all my links are in there for my business and for my coaching, everything that I'm doing as well.
Beautiful. And
I'll
thanks for co-hosting as always, brother.
Always, bro. Always here.
Both their links will be down below. My links as well, of course. At Gabe No Victim. At No Victim Apparel, you can find the clothes, the whole nine. At No Victim Podcast.
And thank you to the studio. I don't know the proper name of it all, but
shout out the Move Miami.
Shout out the Move Miami for hooking it up. This is a super nice studio. This is amazing.
Obviously a little bit different than our normal setup, right?
different
better.
different than a random Airbnb.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
where we gotta adjust the living room.
Very
But,
grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time. Peace out.
Peace.
No victim.
That was sick.